Good day, one. Good day, all. Today, I want to talk about my systematic trading system that I have developed for trading the currency markets. So, this page that you're looking at right now, it's essentially a demo page of about 5 months of coding, backtesting, trial and error, and a lot of different stuff to get this output that you're seeing right here. So the idea of this system is very simple. So I look at 5 different indicators, which is seasonality, technical. I should probably zoom in here so it's easier to see. So here I zoom in. So I look at seasonality, technical, positioning, spread, macro, and then I use all of these 5 different indicators to generate an overall final score. And this score ranges from 0 to 100, with 0 being the most bullish and 100 being the most bearish. And here you can see the different currency pairs. So at the moment, GBP AUD is given the most bullish reading, while AUD JPY is given the most bearish reading. So that's essentially what this system does. It looks at different market factors and then aggregate them to generate a final score. And before I automated this, I was doing it manually, which was a very tedious and time consuming process. So probably about 80% of this is automated. So if we head to my Visual Studio Code here, you can see that this right here, this is the Python code. There's a lot of historical data, CSV files, Python scripts, just a lot of stuff, thousands of lines of data that is used to calculate this final output. Now, compared to what I was doing manually, where if you've been following my channel for some time, you know that I used to do this a manual process, manually calculate everything. This is really time consuming. So that's essentially what the system does here. You may be seeing this and you might be a skeptic and you might instantly start to say, this system, it probably does not make any sense. How do I know that this system gives a good score, and when it's bullish, that's actually good for a currency, or bad for a currency, or so on? Well, it is that way because I've run multiple backtests on every single one of these metrics. So I have the backtest right here where I've run backtests on the positioning, backtests on spreads, backtests on technicals. Every single one of these metrics that you're looking at here, seasonality, technical, positioning, spread, and macro, I have run a backtest on these to see if they have high levels of correlation to future price momentum. And my backtest has shown that all of these 5 indicators, they have high correlation with predicting future price momentum. And what that essentially means is that when the system is bullish, it's more than likely that a particular currency will continue to go up, and vice versa. When it's bearish, it's more than likely that a currency is more than likely to go down. So that backtest has proven to me that this system here works. Now, for live testing, I actually use this in my live personal trading, and to show you a bit of track record here. So since March, I have connected my broker to my FX book, and you can look at my track record here for the past 6 months. You can see that in March I had a 3.5% return. I had a down month in April. In May I was flat. June I was up 3%. July I was 5.5%, and this month so far I'm up 1.3%. And this is this return right here is essentially by using this system. Now, before I automated this, I was doing this manually, and as mentioned, it was a very tedious process. And if you've been following this channel, you've probably seen my Notion where I manually recorded all the economic fundamentals, sentiment, and all that stuff. I removed some of them now because, well, I've automated it. But this right here, I used to do this manually, and doing it manually, it's what resulted in this return. So this right here is simply just a way to automate my trading, so I don't have to go out and manually do anything. And for this month, This is my broker Axis Select. You can see that this month I am currently up 1.06%, which is a total profit of $140 this month so far. So this system right here, as mentioned, I have backtested the data, and the backtest has shown that this system has the potential to predict future price movement, or momentum rather. And I've used this in my live trading, and it also shows that this system has the potential to predict future price momentum. So let's look at some more features in this system. So the main features of this system so far, and as mentioned, this is a demo system. I'll be designing the UI and a lot more in the future. For now, I just want to test it out in the live market to see how it works. So this page right here, today's summary, this simply gives the latest breakdown of the most recent score. So this was last updated on August 14th, which is yesterday. So at 17 o'clock UTC -5 every single day, a update is run. So it isn't that time as yet, so this is why the last update is yesterday. And you can see the most recent scores. The Australian dollar is currently giving a score of 35. The Great British Pound is currently giving a score of 50. The Japanese yen 66, and the US dollar is giving a score of 35. And if we look at the currency pairs, GBP AUD is currently the most bullish in the system. And you can look and see that whenever the system is giving a bullish reading, more than likely the currency is going up. And if it isn't going up, that's an opportunity to buy, because the system is telling you that based on all of these fundamental factors, the currency is likely under or overvalued. So GBP USD is giving the most bullish reading. And if we look at the GBP USD, GBP AUD, and if we look at GBP AUD chart, this is a 1 hour time frame. You can see that GBP AUD is bullish on the 1 hour time frame. So what I'm doing here, given that my system is saying that I should be bullish GBP AUD, I'm just waiting for pullbacks to buy. If we look at the next most bullish currency, which is GBP USD, which is giving a reading of 57 as well, and we look at GBP USD, which is right here, it is going up. And again, given that my system is bullish, I'm simply just waiting for pullbacks, because my system is currently telling me that I need to look for buys. If we go on the opposite end of the spectrum here, we see that AUD JPY is the most bearish, and USD JPY is also very bearish at 35. And I'm actually in a trade at the moment on USD JPY, which is a short that I took yesterday that is currently in a bit of profit. So my system is telling me that I need to be bearish on USD JPY at the moment, and this is the simple setup that I took: a pullback to a recent resistance, and then a sell right here. So that's essentially how I use the system. I look at the score, and not just the score. We'll get to the dashboard soon, which is something more important than the score, but that's essentially how I use the system. I also have my trading board right here, which I just use to look at catalysts and so forth, just something that I use alongside my system, where I look at the potential catalysts, what are the current positive catalysts, what are the current negative catalysts, and what are the potential catalysts. And this is just a discretionary tool that I use alongside my system to decide whether to buy or sell. But that's essentially how I use the system. But what's even more important than the absolute level of the score is the delta, which is the change in the score. And on the main dashboard right here, you can see that this page, the title is Score Trajectory, and what this shows is, or is supposed to show, is the trajectory of the score over the past 6 months. Now, I've only been recording this data since the 13th of August, which is 2 days ago. So this is why you only see 2 data points. But this right here, if I remove all of this, this is the final score line. So this is what's important when you're looking at momentum. So we're currently looking at the Australian dollar. And we can see that the final score of the Australian dollar is 34. So that means that you should be bearish on the Australian dollar. But what matters more than the Australian dollar being 34 is if the final score is going up or down, which is the delta. So that is what this dashboard is meant to do. It is meant to show you the trajectory of the Australian dollar over the past 6 months. So you can look at the score of 34 and you can see that on August 14 the score was 34.8, and on August 13 it was 30. So that means that even though Australian dollar is bearish in my system, it is getting more bullish. So this is something important to pay attention to, and you can see this for every other currency. So we're looking at GBP and you can see it's a similar story. The reading for GBP has went up. So this is something that you use alongside the score right here. So instead of just looking at the final score, which gives you the absolute level, so it tells you whether you should be bullish or bearish, now on the dashboard you can look at the momentum of the score. So you can see what the score was 1 week ago, 1 month ago, 2 months ago, or a day ago, or something like that, which is more important than the absolute level. So this is the purpose of this page right here. And next we have economic data, which is something that you just look at whenever you're doing probably your discretionary analysis. So again, I used to do this manually, where I used to come in Notion here, I go to the economic data page, and then I would update all of these stuff, color code, and do a lot of different stuff. But now all of this is done automatically. So on this page right here, you can look at the economic data for the different currencies. So currently we're looking at USD, which is the United States. So you can see that we have different sections: labor market, and this looks at average hourly earnings, NFP, and unemployment rate. So this is the only data the system looks at in the labor market. And if you're someone who understands macro and you're like, where is ADP? Why isn't ADP in labor market, or why isn't JOLTS in labor market? And the reason why I don't add ADP or JOLTS is because of the backtest. So as mentioned, every single one of these indicators, I've backtested them to see if they have any sort of predictability. So when NFP beat expectations, for example, does it lead to better than average price action in the US dollar over the coming days and weeks? And it shows me that NFP is a good indicator to use to trade macro. But when I did that for ADP and JOLTS, it shows that there's no correlation. So essentially looking at something like ADP or JOLTS and saying that JOLTS beat expectations, so you're going to go long the dollar, there's no signal in doing that, because the backtest has showed me that there is no correlation between JOLTS and the US dollar, and there's no correlation between ADP and the US dollar. So this is why I only use 3 metrics for the labor market. And then essentially it's the same thing for inflation. So I look at core PPI, core CPI, CPI year over year, and core PCE. And I don't use any other indicator like month over month, because again, that has very little to no correlation with future price action. And in growth, I use core retail sales, not retail sales. I use ISM and S&P services and manufacturing PMI, and then I look at GDP. So these are the 6 growth metrics that I use to judge the strength of the US economy. And then the system essentially aggregates all of this data to give a final macro score. So this is the macro data, and in today's summary, if you look at USD, you can see that macro is currently 58. Now the macro model that I use is a very simplified version. I have a other version of the macro. I won't really get into that, it's a lot more complicated, but currently I use a very simplified model to give a overall score for macro. And this is the US, so you can look at GBP, you can see jobless claims, unemployment rate out of the UK, inflation, growth. Similarly, you can look at the Australian dollar, and you can look at Japan. So you can just come here on this page and analyze the economic data. And as for now, this is the main thing of the software. As mentioned, I just want to test this in the live markets. I want to use it for maybe 3 to 5 months to see how it performs, to see how it shapes my analysis, to see if the reading has any predictive value as shown in the backtest and so forth, and all of that stuff. So that is why this dashboard at the moment, it's just something that I use on this thing called Streamlit. So it's not the final version. This is just basically like a demo version of the automated software here. So yeah, that's about that's what I wanted to share today of the model that I've been working on. I've been sharing a few updates here and there on this because it's something that I've been working on since late January to early February. So it's been about 6 or 7 months since I've been working on this software right here, and trust me, it has been challenging, but I really think that it's worth it and it will improve my trading tenfold. So yeah, that's about it. That's what I wanted to share.